Think of this. Remember when we were kids and our parents took us to the polling booth? While they casted their votes, we were fascinated, thinking what was happening and had a wish to get that ink on our index fingers when we grew up. But something dangerous is happening in India. That childhood desire seems to have faded away. Young Indians are not just voting enough. Less than 40% of voters between the age of 18 and 19 had registered for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections across the country. And this is concerning. So, why are we treating election day as a holiday to chill and watch Netflix? Why are our political activism not taking the right shape during elections? What is exactly going wrong? Let's dive deeper to understand this. Whether it is for the cause of Palestine or Kashmir, or more recently the wave of Samvidhan Khatre mein hai, you will find a dedicated section of the Indian youth to stage protests and sign petitions every now and then. Or let's talk about the magnificent movement that students led in the Arjikar case in Kolkata. We, the young minds, are not stepping back to criticize or oppose something that we feel is wrong, and that is probably the biggest trademark of Gen Z. India is a country where even the college ke paas ka chai wala has strong political opinions. But when it comes to casting votes by the youth, we are lagging behind. Almost 65% of India's population is below the age of 35. But the state with the most number of youths, Bihar, has only 17% of registered youth voters, and it is just 21% in Delhi. But why are the numbers so bad? If we look at the data, the youth vote grew from 58% in 2009 to 68% in 2014, but has faced a decline ever since. According to the Election Commission of India, less than 40% of voters aged 18 to 19 had registered to vote in 2024 elections. These are not just a few people. There are actually millions whose voices are going unheard because they choose to skip the election day, and that's really bad for a democracy. And now obviously you would ask me, what is actually the problem? Why is India's youth not voting? The first and the most important reason in youth in India today are that they are disconnected from the present wave of politics. You would ask me why? Well, look around, and they are not totally wrong. Wherever you see, you will find a 50 plus politician in power. In fact, the average age of elected representatives in the Lok Sabha is 56.7 years. Obviously, our generation cannot relate to them. And what promises do they make? Pension reforms, subsidies, and the same old vote bank politics. Everything targeted towards the older voters. And more recently, the country is seeing a rise in bravery culture. Free this, free that. But what about burning issues like education reforms, mental health, job creation, and even digital privacy? These are largely missing. Since very few young people are seen in power, the youth feels neglected. They feel that they are not represented properly. As a result, they do not take part in the whole process. Because what's the point of it? Digital activism has become a substitute for real political participation. If elections were won through social media debates, young Indians would be running the country. Every election cycle, hashtags like #GoVote, #YouthForChange trend. But on the actual voting day, polling booths remain half empty. Many believe that posting a political meme or retweeting a protest hashtag is the same as participating in democracy. But the hard truth is, tweets don't elect governments, votes do. Number 2, trust deficit in the system. We as a generation are growing with better exposure and greater technological knowledge than any other generation that has ever lived. Whenever there's a scam or a scandal, we are quick to know about it. Thanks to social media, the numerous broken promises, policy flip-flops, and dynastic politics all around have made the youth realize that politics is after all a rigged game. And that is why when you ask a friend who does not vote, he will tell you, what difference could a single vote make? But he is actually wrong. A single vote has immense power. But this is not the feeling of a few. This ongoing lack of trust in the system is a serious challenge that our country faces even today. The lack of a direct consequence of a single vote in the era of things like quick commerce and instant gratification is one of the factors that keeps us away from taking part in the elections. Number 3. Logistical barriers. Obviously, it's not that nobody wants to vote. There is a certain percentage of young Indians who really want to vote, but they are unable to reach the polling booth due to logistical barriers. Let me make this simpler for you. Take the case of Akash, who is working in Bangalore but is originally from Kolkata. He was eager to vote in his hometown but couldn't get a leave to travel. He tried changing his voter registration but got stuck in endless paperwork, and eventually he gave up. This isn't just his story. millions of young Indians face the same issue. So let's come to some possible solutions. What are the steps to be taken, and how can the youth be encouraged to make them understand that their votes matter? Young Indians aren't apathetic, they are practical. They will vote when the system respects their time, addresses their concerns, and proves that their participation matters. The first step is to think about the mode of voting. With everything going digital, why isn't voting online yet? If banks can secure transactions, so can elections. And we are actually moving forward in this direction. The Election Commission of India has decided to introduce remote voting using the multi-constituency remote electronic voting machine, a well thought out plan to include migrant voters in the electoral process. It will finally be able to fix the issue of migration because no voter will be left out just because they have moved to a different city. And let's talk about the political parties now. They need to stop treating young voters like they don't matter. Political parties need to field candidates under 35 to actually understand youth issues like the job crisis, digital rights, and climate change so that we can feel more connected with the existing set of options. This might surprise you, but there is an organization called Mark Your Presence that works towards engaging and educating the youth to vote, and they have done a pretty decent job. This is a funny stat, but 79% of Gen Z respondents are more likely to vote if they are accompanied by a date, and that is probably why Mark Your Presence teamed up with Tinder to spread awareness on the electoral process by using creative methods like flash mobs and digital outreach. They have proven that with the right approach, young people will definitely show up. And finally, things need to be done right starting from a young age. Imagine if schools had mock elections where students got to experience the entire voting process right from researching candidates, casting votes, and seeing real results. Or what if students could vote on actual school decisions like choosing a new club or a library upgrade? When they see their votes making a difference, they will understand how democracy works and feel more confident about participating when they grow up. But even I agree that things need to change, but so do we. What's the point of criticizing political parties when you had the chance to choose but just ignored it when it mattered the most? After all, in a democracy, your vote is your power. So, the next time elections are near, just ask yourself, would you keep on complaining, or would you do the bare minimum to bring the change that you wish to see? This is Mayank. See you in the next one.